del ruido de cañones y metrallas, surge una historia popular. Una joven que apodaban Juanacayo, ser valiente a no dudar. Siempre al frente de la tropa se encontraba, peleando como cualquier Juan. En campaña, en un pelón se le escapaba, sin piedad se lo tronaba con un enorme pistolón. Era el coco de todos los federales y los mismos generales tenían pavor. Ábranle que ahí viene Juanacayo, va gritando en su caballo, ¡viva la revolución! Para los que son calumniadores, para todos los traidores, trae bien puesto el corazón.
This body of work of the Soldaderas is very important in the history of Mexico. Like Elena Poniatowska says, without the Soldaderas, there is no Mexican Revolution. They kept it alive and fertile like the earth. So I'm trying to continue to keep them alive in my artwork, in my paintings. I've used a lot of images from these photographs. This book has been very helpful. And the songs, the Mexican songs, I've tried to use some of the words in my work. And I've used dirt and from the trails where these battles took place, rocks, all kinds of things impressed into my work so I can keep them alive. Sometimes I think my work looks like walls. They're very old walls, and part of the history and the words are encrusted in them. And I like to have these girls are like ghosts, and they appear in the walls, and they've been there forever. Something I always have to do is get back from my work and look at it from a distance, and then see what it looks like when I come. Most of the time the women had no idea where they were going. They just went. There was no plan. They had no idea where they would be the next day, where they would sleep, or what they would eat. This is the most famous photograph and image of the Soldaderas. You see her everywhere, and she's sort of the icon of the revolutionary women. So she's easily recognized, but I want to present her in a different way. So that's what I'm trying to do here. At this time, I'm going to embellish the painting and make a dedication. I usually have some words that I start with in my work that inspire me. And this particular painting, if you recall, we burned the image all the way to Zacatecas and passed on this battle path. And I'm going to dedicate this particular painting to General Felipe Angeles. He was the right-hand intelligence man. He was very strategic in Villa's plans for battle. So I'm going to put his name here. And at one point, when Villa won in Zacatecas, there was a telegram that he sent back to Huerta because he had received the same telegram years before on the death of Madero. And this telegram said simply, Viva la República. As I began painting on this piece that's dedicated to Angeles, I recognized that these are angels. This word in Spanish means angels, Angeles, and the women that were soldaderas were really angels to the revolution. There were so many of them that go unnamed, but some of the names we know are Caritina, Petra, Valentina, Adelita, and Juana Gallo. So this is dedicated to them also, the Angeles of the revolution. I'm using mainly sepia tones in this body of work because all my references, all the resource and all the research I've been doing for months, almost a year, all the photographs that I receive are all done in sepia, black and white, because there was no color film in those days. So I keep reverting back to these colors. And I'm going to let this dry for a few minutes and come back into it with some other tones of sepia. The technique I'm going to use now is a very old, ancient actually, technique. It was used by the Egyptians in their sarcophagus. It's a wax technique that you use natural waxes, and then you add something that hardens them, like a varnish, carnauba, and then you add your color by, you take a pigment and you add the color. You can use oil paint or you can use powdered pigments, which is what I have here is powdered pigments. So I'm going to put one layer of this, and then I'll show you how to make it move on the canvas. So there's no way to tell. There is not just one kind of woman that fought in this revolution. If you could see the amount of heavy equipment they carried, sometimes up to 50 kilos. They carried pots and pans, babies, matates, the corn grinders. They carried everything on their backs, and few of them had horses or burros. Most of them walked. But they're a brave group of women. I think what I'm working on, since I work in layers, I mentioned that before. I work one layer on top of another, on top of another, and it's the same as history. There's layers of history and layers of history that build on one another, and this is about my third or fourth layer on this painting, and I feel like I've on this last part that I put on, I need to join some of it. It's a little bit scattered, and it bothers me. It's a little busy, but only I have to get back from it to tell that, and so that's what I do. That's what my job is, to make them work, and so I will join these things together and go on to the next layer. That's my job.